É um grande prazer poder receber Flavio Aggio para falar sobre a cibersegurança dentro do período que vivemos. Flávio, obrigado pela participação. É com você.
Thank you very much, Rafael, for the introduction. My name is Flavio Aggio. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for the World Health Organization. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you in the Cybersecurity Summit, Brazil. So what I'd like to share with you is the cybersecurity during COVID-19. And I hope you can really get the information that I wanted to share, and perhaps this can help your organization in facing cyber threats and in general. So to start, I'd like to share with you what the World Health Organization do, because we promote health, we keep the world safe, and we serve the vulnerable. Those are the three important principles. And before any presentation, I'd like to share with you, because it's important to know what the World Health Organization is doing to protect really health, keep the world safe, and serve the vulnerable. So what I'd like to do is share with you the importance of the human factor in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity technologies are very, very important. They serve to identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover, but they are not sufficient. What I call HumanOS is the human operating systems. We invest in technologies, we normally forget about investments in how people perceive the use of technology from the user point of view and also from the provider point of view. So companies that are providing technology or consuming technology. And what I'd like to share here is what is really required from everyone to safely use the internet. And it is not only about training and awareness, it's much more than that. That includes the everything that we need to really do to openly acknowledge systems vulnerabilities, and from the public point of view and also from the IT communities. So there is no software 100% safe. And this is what I wanted to really change the paradigm here, because what we do is we invest in a lot of technologies, but we forget that who writes the technology? Humans. And humans will perhaps introduce problems that needs to be resolved in the future. And that's the reason I will say that the human operating system, our way to think about technology needs to change. And that's the reason I strongly believe that humans are the weakest and the strongest links in cybersecurity. So with that, I'd like to share with you where everyone should start. Everyone should start with the cyber risk. Do you know your cyber risks? If you know your cyber risks, you must manage an appropriate level, because if you don't manage an appropriate level, you can see on the slide the cards really laying there, and when the cyber attack happens on the base of the pyramid, what will happen? It will be a disruption of any business operations and business objectives. So if you don't know the risks, you need to know, and if you know the risks, you need to manage. And identification and management of the cybersecurity risks are essential and needs to happen between the decision makers and cybersecurity. And the decision makers will decide what risks that they are willing to take. So before the COVID-19 pandemic, influential activities helped me in the World Health Organization. So we had multiple external and internal audits. We successfully classified cybersecurity as an organization principal risk. If you search on a search engine, WHO cybersecurity principal risk, you'll be able to find a document that shows that cybersecurity is recognized officially as a principal risk. And this helps you to bring cybersecurity concerns in every single activity in the organization. Having a cybersecurity policy officially approved and published is essential. We did that after a very long consultation process, and the organization knows where it is, and it is not only a binder that stays there, a book that stays there for audit. No, needs to be used every day, needs to be used when a system is built, when a business needs to think about a requirement, and when risks needs to be understood from the cyber point of view. Having a policy available is essential. And in complementation of that, having a strategy, a governance, roadmap, and budget. All that were approved by the IT Steering Committee, which is the equivalent of a WHO IT board. Key important accelerated components when the COVID-19 pandemic happened. The number one and one of the most important, multi-factor authentication for all IT devices. I strongly recommend, because relying only on password is not a good thing. Having multi-factor authentication creates one level of defense that is needed. I normally share with colleagues the Swiss cheese model. I don't know if you know that model. If you have a Swiss cheese model, the first layer of the Swiss cheese, which has holes, the holes are vulnerabilities. So you put the first layer, so hackers can go through the vulnerabilities. So then you put a second layer of Swiss cheese. The likelihood that the holes will align will be very minimum, but some may align. Then you put a third level of Swiss cheese. And by doing that multi-layer security, you address cybersecurity risks. So the second layer is an integrated security operating center with the SIM, EDR, and vulnerability management. Having that creates a very nice second layer cheese, second layer of defense that helps your organization. The third layer is threat intelligence that eliminates a lot of impersonation. So the threat intelligence goes outside and trying to find risks, threats that can impact the organization. And then you can act upon those threats. And the fourth, very important, a protocol called DMARC for email. We implemented that protocol, and in 30 days, we did that, and WTO impersonation dropped by 70%. So a lot of bad actors were impersonating the email of WTO, WTO.int, and once we enabled that, we eliminated around 50 million messages that were impersonating WTO. So I recommend all organizations to enable DMARC. So I recommend several other components to be implemented. We are working on that. And those 6 items listed in this slide are the email advanced threat protection to really protect links and attachments in email, which is the easy way for hackers to try to penetrate security systems. And if you don't put that extra layer on top, it's very hard to defend against APT groups. The second is a global cloud proxy. So when you have a device, that device accessing the network, accessing the internet, will prevent users to go to bad places, and that helps as well. Another layer is application vulnerability scanning integrated with development and operations. So when the application is being built in your organization, you do the automatic scanning and you flag areas of vulnerabilities, that the development team and the operations team can work upon. Vulnerability management, including patch management. So as soon as you see that something is vulnerable, you can really patch that. As much as you can automate that, better you're going to be. For the more mature organizations, I recommend the exploration of deception technology, because then you can put traps, and when the bad actors try to access your systems, they will know if that is a real system or it is a trap. And if it is a trap, it will be connected to your SOC, and you'll be able to prevent bad things from happening. And the last one is more a strategy, the zero trust strategy. So there's no perimeter anymore. There's no safe place inside of any organization. In the past, the perimeter was the network. You put firewalls. Nowadays, that doesn't exist anymore. Bad actors can really cut firewalls like butter. So what you have to do is think about the identification protection and verification of every action on your systems. So when somebody needs something, you do the verification, you do the multi-factor authentication, and then you can allow that person or that system to move forward. So those are the 6 recommended areas that I am recommending multiple organizations to improve, and this is what we are doing at WHO. Lessons learned from the COVID-19. We need to change the mindset, especially IT mindset, that we can protect 100%. There's no 100%. What you can do is do the best as you can with the technology and knowledge that you know, but vulnerable systems will always exist. The secret is to create multi-level defense, and this is a mindset that needs to change. That's the reason the reboot, or having a human operating system reboot, is necessary, especially for IT. Monthly phishing exercises make users to understand faster and better cyber attacks. So we do monthly phishing exercises, and I recommend every organization to do it. Communicate often, but not too much. Concentrate on what's in it for me. One example of that is in our trainings, in our conversations with users that use systems in WHO, we alert people that if they protect their personal accounts, they will protect themselves and their families, and therefore the organization, because attackers are going after personal accounts. So if you really communicate well that this is what is going on, your employees will think that they can benefit from the program, and they can make their family more secure. So everyone should spend time on that and think about what they are doing to make their personal accounts safer. Collaborate and share information with external organizations, like what we are doing here, and concentrate on human-centric technology. So how can technology be easier for you and not that easy for the attacker? So part of that HumanOS upgrade for IT professionals and users is the recognition that technology is not enough. So everything is about people, process, and technology. And if you invest a lot in technology and not enough in process and people, it's a major issue, and attackers can really identify the weak points and penetrate. Human factor is always in play in cybersecurity awareness program that we spoke about, cybersecurity policy and governance that I already described before, and integrated risk management. If you have all those 3 elements, you can change the mindset, and you can make a better cybersecurity program in your organization. So I recommend 8 steps to really improve your defenses. One is to understand the risks from the business point of view. Second, to change the behavior, digital behavior, using unique and long passwords, especially passphrases, in multi-factor authentication. In order to do unique passwords, we recommend the use of password management, password vaults, password management solutions. There are several in the market, and you can pick the best that you are comfortable with, whatever that you're comfortable, and you use that password management to create a unique password for every system. Only that item number 2 can prevent 90% of cyber attacks. 90%. It's a major change. And this is for IT and for consumers of IT, for the public. Third, recognize potential conflicts of interest between IT and cybersecurity. IT will try to deliver functionality. Cybersecurity will try to deliver the safest way to use systems. So it's not one or the other, it's both together. And we cannot allow IT to override cybersecurity or cybersecurity to override IT. Is a balance, and we need to eliminate that conflict of interest. Mitigate IT solutions and process vulnerabilities. So there are a lot of vulnerabilities, and there will always be vulnerabilities. The important is to mitigate those vulnerabilities and be aware of those vulnerabilities. Performance, software update continuously. Software will change every time, and you will need to update and keep it up to date all the time. Enable rapid response. When a hack happens, normally it takes a very long time for an organization to discover that. So you need to invest on time reduction to detect a hack and a time reduction to react to a hack. It's not a question of if, it is a question of when. All organizations will be hacked. So we need to have that mentality, enable rapid response. In order to do that, you need to build cybersecurity red and blue teams. So the red team operates like the offensive team, and the blue team is more a defensive team. And they work together, conceptualize the purple team, working defense offense at the same time, improving the defense mechanisms of your organization, so you can anticipate cyber criminals. The last but not least, implement and maintain cybersecurity awareness initiatives. Very important across the board for IT and for the consumers of IT. So again, do you need the HumanOS upgrade? I think so, because people are thinking only about products and technologies, and it is not sufficient. Definitely not sufficient. Very important, but not sufficient. They conceptualize that it is only training awareness, that reshape, wake up is really not it. What we need to do is to re-look at cybersecurity from the risk perspective and from what actions that you can take in your organization based on the risk that the organization is willing to take. So the investments will vary depending on the risk, and when the risk materializes, the organization is accountable and responsible for that. Public and IT communities must openly acknowledge systems vulnerabilities. I sense that not everybody is comfortable with that, and that's the reason I emphasize. And again, humans are the weakest and strongest links in cybersecurity. With that, I open to receive questions, and I will answer those questions in the best way possible. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.